Right, so over on TikTok, there is a lot of people who either record themselves or go live whilst at work. And that can be fine, as long as it's appropriate, right? But today we are talking about a situation where TikTok has been called out for going live at work when it wasn't appropriate. And more specifically, we're going to be talking about a nurse. So this is the TikToker right here, Yaz Scott. She's got about 13,000 followers. And Yaz is an LPN, so she's a licensed nurse, and she recently went live, or I guess she has been going live like consistently whilst at work. The specific live stream that has got Yaz a lot of backlash from a lot of other nurses that are on TikTok, which we'll see later on, was actually this stream where Yaz was live during MedPass. So she's preparing people's medication during a live stream, and there's a few things that happened during this stream that people definitely aren't happy with. I mean, firstly, during the stream, Yaz actually says the patient's name. We then hear the patient, confirm their name. Obviously, you're not going to be able to hear the patient's name in this video. It's been redacted. This live stream, by the way, was actually screen recorded by an account called Rosie LaRue, I believe that's pronounced. Okay, so she says the patient's name there.
Yeah. You do mornings. Yeah.
And then it gets redacted again, and you hear the patient's name. Now, of course, especially when we're talking about medication, this is a massive privacy concern. And people rightfully were calling this out in the chat. Now, Yaz does respond to the chat quite a lot throughout this live stream, and she is very defensive.
Ain't no patient information showing, okay? So y'all just relax. Oh my God, why do y'all keep doing that? I'll lose my license if I'm showing patient information. I'm not showing any patient information, so just relax. Just relax. If y'all see some patient information, then just holla. But I'm not showing nothing. I'm just at work, so...
Yeah, I mean, she didn't show anything, she didn't show a document, but she said a name, and we get to see the medication throughout the live stream, so yeah, you can see why people be concerned. And like I mentioned, Yaz is very defensive when it comes to the chat throughout this live stream. She's kind of constantly telling people to relax.
Chill! And nobody's mad, that's the thing. Who's mad? I'm just telling y'all to relax, chill. You're not seeing any patient information, you're not seeing nothing, so just relax.
Another part that people brought up throughout this live stream is that Yaz goes on to open a lidocaine patch with her teeth. Even says, this isn't sanitary, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
This is not sanitary.
With that same lidocaine patch, Yaz then realizes that she made an error of when it was supposed to be used.
Oh, shoot. Actually, it wasn't the wrong medication. It's just the lidocaine patch. You're supposed to have it in the daytime, not at night.
Yeah, so the error was that she told the patient that she's supposed to have it at night and not during the daytime, which was wrong. Now, obviously, that might have been a mistake that she would have made regardless if she was live or not, but the fact that she is live and she's worried about speaking to the chat and, just focusing on this TikTok live stream definitely makes it a lot worse, especially when you're dealing with something as important as medication. And if you actually read the chat throughout this, there's a lot of people saying stuff like, why are you risking your license like this just for the sake of a TikTok live stream? And that becomes even more confusing when Yaz mentions that she hasn't actually been a nurse for that long.
I've only been a nurse. I passed my NCLEX August 15th.
Yeah, so assuming she means last August, because she didn't mention a year, so I assume it was last August. That's less than a year. Now, later on in the live stream, Yaz goes into, a different room to respond to people in the chat again, starts, blocking people and whatnot.
For a second. Y'all are in these comments. Let me block this hoe. I'm just now reading some of these. How do I even block on here? Because, bitch, y'all, it was doing way too much. Way too much. Yes, girl, I love doing nursing content. As long as I'm not showing any patient information, I don't understand why y'all be on here doing so much. Just doing way too much. Thank God. Kari, let me go ahead and just block you, boo.
A lot of people in the chat were mentioning HIPAA, which is a US law that protects people's, health information. Yaz responds to that saying she knows what HIPAA is, but obviously doesn't really seem overly concerned about it.
Girl, I know what HIPAA is. I've been in the healthcare field a very long time, even as a CNA. I know what HIPAA is. I appreciate y'all on here that's having my back, because they just doing too much. I done been in healthcare way too fucking long. I'm not about to sit on here and argue with nobody or do none of that. It's not happening. Was tripping. I'm just now being able to see everything. God damn.
Yeah, so I assume when she says that I'm now just being able to see everything, I'm assuming she's like actually scrolled up the chat and read through all of the comments and probably sees just how many people were concerned. And then the screen recording of the live stream ends with Yaz like complaining about one of like the nursing assistants.
The one annoying part, because that's their job to do that. And they just don't do it. So now I have to go get some vitals after passing all of these meds for 20 people.
Yeah, so that's a live stream. Like I mentioned, this account, Rosie LaRue, actually posted this like kind of screen recording of the live stream, and this blew up. I mean, it's currently on 1.2 million views. And looking in the comments of this video, people are clearly concerned. I mean, look, there's comments like this one saying, did she use her fucking teeth to open the lidocaine patch? Easiest way to make a med error? Wow. I mean, yeah, it is, right? It's something that needs your full concentration to make sure you don't make an error, because that could be really bad. So you probably shouldn't be worried about a TikTok live stream and reading through a chat. Opening a lidocaine patch with your teeth that has plaque and bacteria on it is wild. Did anyone report this? This goes against everything we learned in nursing school. It's not just patient information. You literally made a med error and said it was just a lidocaine patch. If it would have been a BP med, would you have just said it was just hydrazine? No. Very uncomfortable watching this because this is someone's grandma and grandpa. And then finally, another comment here in quotation marks saying, this is not sanitary, but on camera is really something else. Now, it's not just the comment section. There are a lot of people making response videos to this whole situation. Specifically, like nurses have been talking about this. For example, there's a video here from Tiff Marie, or Nerf Tiff, with around 100,000 followers.
You gotta be a different kind of dumb to get on here and record yourself on live as a nurse doing a medication pass. HIPAA! The worst part about it is this girl said a patient's name. Not one, multiple times on here. Talking about something, I'm not breaking HIPAA. You can't see patient information. Girl, we can hear it.
Also goes on to mention that she made an error and says like the patient could end up suing her.
Then baby, you made a medication error on camera. So now I know what med Betty Sue is on. That patient should and could sue the fuck out of you.
And then ends the video by saying that she should be focused while doing med pass and shouldn't be worried about a TikTok live stream.
You have to record of all things you passing medication. Something where you should be focused anyways. You at the camera talking, looking, talking to the patient, at the camera, responding to people. Girl.
Now, another nurse who's recently spoke out about this is Brittany here, that travel nurse on TikTok.
As much as my nurse brain would love to get on here and read you for filth like the rest of the nursing community is doing, especially for making us look bad as the 11% of black nurses that we are, like we already don't work hard enough, my heart's not going to allow me to do that. Yes, Scott was the LPN that got on live a couple days ago and recorded herself during med pass saying the patient name and also making a med error on camera, while people in the comments were literally trying to help her, like, girl get off, girl get off. She literally was in the camera like, y'all doing too much, y'all running out, y'all taking the fun out of stuff. Fun!
And then finally another video here from an account called Queen Kerry, who also spoke about this.
Yeah, when you're on the job, just leave all those extra stuff out. Just do your job. It's 8 hours, or if you're even doing a double shift for 12 hours, 16 hours, just do your job. When you get your break, you can go and stream, let the people know that you're, but just stop with the whole let me record myself doing all that, because trust me, everything now is either going to the federal government or the Board of Nursing is just so quick to snatch your license. If you work very hard for your license, and I'm sure you did, girl, let me tell you something. Please protect it with everything. I protect my license with everything because it feeds my family, it takes care of my children, and I don't play about my license. Don't lose your license for 50 or 60, 80 views. No, don't do it. It's not worth it. And
yeah, I mean, that's a very good point, right? Like, why would you risk your license for the sake of a TikTok live stream? Even, like, regardless of how many people are watching it. As we're hearing here, there wasn't actually that many people watching anyways. Obviously, a lot of people have seen it now that it's been re-uploaded. But I just don't understand the thought process. Now, it does look like nothing is going to come out of this. I mean, according to Yaz anyways, like, we'll have a look through the comments on her most recent video. Now, this most recent video doesn't have anything to do with the situation, but the comment section is all about this situation. So so Yaz has been responding to a lot of comments. So there's a comment here saying, I heard they reported you to the board in Michigan. Someone on TikTok posted your whole license number and full name and state. Yaz replied saying, I'm aware, thank you. Another video here saying you still got a job. Yaz says, yes, I do, thank God. And another comment here saying, learn from this and protect your license from now on. You work too hard for it, sending love and prayers your way. To which Yaz replied saying, I have learned from this for sure. I pray others use me as an example when it comes to posting nursing content. Thank you for your positive words. So I think one positive that seems to have came out of this is that Yaz is no longer going to be doing these live streams, you would assume, reading these comments. Now, the comment section of this video is a very mixed bag. Yaz has went through the comments and kind of like hearted the positive ones, so they are going towards the top, but if you actually scroll down, I mean, it does seem very, very mixed. Like, for example, there's comments like this one saying, I understand what people mean, but at the same time, you seem so sweet and haven't said anything crazy. You live and you learn. I hope it all ends up being okay for you. Another comment here saying, girl, I get it, but man, some people literally have nothing better to do than to ruin other people's livelihood. I hope you're okay. Nothing major happened. Yeah, I will say there was a couple of comments on one of the videos that seemed like too far, like people were like digging into like Yaz's like personal life and finding out like private information and whatnot. And obviously it should go without saying that is too far, like clearly. Like it should obviously never get to that point, but obviously the vast majority of the comments of people concerned are just doing that, like voicing their concerns over the live stream. And I think it's fair, especially if you're dealing with something like medication, and I'm sure Yaz understands that now, it seems like that in the comment section anyways, but that clearly should have your full attention, and you shouldn't be worried about a TikTok live stream. Obviously, other than that as well, you just shouldn't be live whilst, like, passing medication. Especially because all it takes is for someone to mention a patient's name, like Yaz did, and we heard the patient also mention the name, it seemed, in that video. Like, all it takes is something like that to happen, and that is a massive privacy breach. But I guess the positive that has came out of this, judging from the comment section anyways, is that Yaz is probably no longer going to be doing these live streams, you would think. Like, you can do your live streams once you're home, or maybe even on your break or whatnot, if you want to talk about your job, talk about your experience, you know, like help people out and stuff. But obviously, there's a time and place. Now, with that being said, I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below on this whole situation, and I'm going to leave it there. So if you did enjoy the video, leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Also, if you're interested in some other content, me and Emily have a channel where we play games, react to reality shows, all that type of stuff. So if you're interested in that, that's always linked in the description. And until the next one, I'll see you guys later. Alright, goodbye.